I wanted to make a video about this sooner, but just like many other places, the weather has been horrible where I'm at. And most of the places that I have right now to do any recording are quite noisy or quite cold. So right now I'm actually sitting inside a warm vehicle just so I could record this video. The biggest issue is figuring out where to start. But since the most recent thing is Alex Pretti being literally murdered, I feel like that's a good place to start. Now, if people only understood that everything that's going on right now, and I don't know how else to say this, is something happening within not my personal life, but at the same time, it's equally combined with the knowledge that I have and the things that I say and do. The people who have seen me get freaked out by me and don't want to be around me. The people who've heard from me say that it makes a lot of sense, but don't want to listen because it would actually shake their foundations of what they think reality is. And I totally get that. But that doesn't stop it from being the case. As with Alex Pretti, I put out my video about ICE and Renee Good at 10 o'clock in the morning, and no more than 5 minutes later, in Minneapolis, Alex Pretti was shot. Just looking at his name, because that's his universal vibration, Alex is short for Alexander, which in both Greek and biblical definitions means defender of men or defender of mankind. I was well aware of that, and I've mentioned that many times. His last name, Pretti, is like the word pretty, but with an I. We don't vitally identify something as someone looking pretty or something being pretty good, that kind of thing. Following Renee Nicole Good, as I said, being broken down as the rebirth of victory for the people, good, that's followed by a man whose name means defender of men or defender of mankind, followed by the name Pretti, which can mean beauty, attractiveness, or affection. In other languages, it can translate as love, joy, and pleasure. Breaking it down by the universal word, it would be potential reference expressed to any upon itself identified. And if that came with defender of men or defender of mankind before it, also coming along with love, joy, pleasure, and your potential reference expressed to any upon itself identified, you'd have to see that this is a person who was trying to stand up for a woman being bullied by a man in a uniform who pushed her down. He did not show aggression towards the people who shot him to death at all. And anyone spinning it that way is so deluded. I would say it's not their fault, but at the same time, that's not an excuse. We have a world full of sick people because they've fallen for it their whole lives, and we've all got to face this. Another universal thing that's going on right here is that it's happening and being noticed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. As I'm doing this talking, I'll put the simple definitions and put the etymologies and breakdowns in front of you on the screen. But here is the simple, universal meaning. Firstly, I'll start with Minnesota. Minnesota. Manifest, identified, nature upon itself or in a space, NN is 28, which is based here, expressed subject, ongoing plus action. And remember, the whole world is seeing this. This is the world stage. When you break it down into the smaller parts, MINN means something that you hold dear. Manifest, identified, in that space. That is not necessarily mine, it's what you value. MINN, min. It's manifest, identified, notion upon itself or nature upon itself. And we're coming from a macrocosm. The universal consciousness is living through each individual consciousness and trying to understand itself. And when we have these things going on in front of the world to see, it means something way deeper than most people are ready to understand, because they spend their time doing meaningless things, serving other people who have gained control through earthly measures. Money, power, force. Yes, power and force are mechanisms of the universe, but money is not. That's a man-made thing. So going from MIN, just that small part of it, manifest, identified, notion, NES, notion or nature, expressed subject, OTA, ongoing plus activity. Like I said, I'll have the little definitions and breakdowns on the screen for you to see, and it all lines up. Now pinpointing it even more into Minneapolis. Once again, MINN, something you hold dear, it's min, manifest, identified, notion or nature upon itself. And then Ea, which I've done a video about, the god of water, magic, creation, wisdom, along with polis, which isn't polar, it's polis. It's where they become balanced. Potential ongoing as it lies, identified subject. It's where you balance that. So something you hold dear, so you use your wisdom to balance your city or state, and your city means power. State means what comes of it. What state are you in? City, in other languages, means power. Cities mean your inner power. When we say it outwardly, it's a place with a lot of power. A lot of people gather together, a lot of resources are used, so therefore, they're centers of power. Seeing that this is universal, and the place that this is happening for everyone to see being Minneapolis, it's something that is dear, wisdom, philosophy, or city-state, where you balance those emotions in the things you hold dear. And it has people so divided. This isn't something that people have actually planned. It's playing out this way because it has to. People aren't using their mind. They aren't thinking. They aren't caring. They want others to take care of those things for them. And that will never happen. It can't. The world has continuously gone downhill. Whether or not we've had all kinds of new inventions and new technological breakthroughs, those don't mean anything to the universe. We are fleas to the universe. And if you only understood that what I'm saying is true, I've seen the grand scheme of this, and it's beautiful. But we're not going to see that being played out in our physical world until we become really good people. And we're not going to be really good people by putting people that have man-given power and man-given authority in charge. We've got to stop looking at the skin color and the skin tone of people and actually working on what's inside of each of those people, no matter where they come from. There are horrible people of every race and every background. And the only way we fix that is by working with people from where they are and helping them improve. And if people can't see that, that's the handicap that we somehow have to work through. I know how we can do it, but it takes a lot of strength, mental strength. But if you realize that we are not our bodies, we are gifted as human beings or Homo sapiens to be able to take in information, think about it, act upon it, and make changes. I know it's hard for people to gather, and to tell you the truth, it's hard for me to put into words because I get this just instantly from seeing it. But I try not to waste my time or put too much effort into explaining it too deeply because most people are knuckleheads. And we live in a world where the people who think they're the smartest get so stuck in their head, they don't know how to feel. And the people who don't do that feel too much and don't know how to think. We have a world where people are confused, not conscious. And they're hoping that Congress can help them. And to tell you the truth, Congress will never save you. They will always serve the people in charge. And why are these people in charge? It doesn't just have to do with people letting them. It has to do with people not having any intuition or any ability to truly provide for themselves other than the system they were thrusted into from the time they were born. And this has gone on for a long, long time, way before any of our ancestors were alive. And I know this always loses people when I talk about understanding other lifetimes, but I do. And I would happily talk to anybody about it with an actual conversation because trying to do it on a video is never going to work when it comes to something this deep. If somebody wanted to record it, great. I would love to do more interviews, but I don't have the computers and the kind of technology like everybody else does, and I'm not interested in falling into that trap either. But I have the minimum that I can work with and still do some of it. So if anyone's interested in that, by all means, reach out. My number's changed, but my email hasn't, and I'll put those on the screen so that you can get a hold of me if you want to. Now, just to go a little bit more into it, notice that one of the biggest news outlets that follows along with all this stuff and really keeps pushing the propaganda is Fox. Now, whether people want to understand it or not, a fox is a great animal, but it's also a cunning, sneaky animal. And fox, in an occult term, represents the devil. It's a red, pointy-eared animal. That's what it represents. And if that's not enough for you, F is 6. There's a 6. O is 15. Add 1 and 5 together. That's a 6. X is 24. Add 2 and 4 together. That's a 6 too. Fox represents the devil and 666. And why do they keep pushing everything that Trump is doing? Because they're bowing down to their lower nature and not feeling enough. Hell, they're not even thinking enough. They're just doing what they're told like mindless robots. And that blends into the AI and to all the technology and all the technocrats. It's enough to make a person who's really conscious angry. Yes, I'm full of forgiveness. I'm full of understanding. But when it comes to things happening like this, knowing that people have the potential to be better and they are choosing not to be, there's no excuse for it anymore. And I can guarantee that if people follow the recommendations of someone like me, we'd have a much better world than listening to any of the creatures that we have in our faces every day. What I've been showing with the word and letters and what they truly mean beyond what anyone has taught you, you can apply that to everyone and everything in your personal life and see that it checks out. And since I can't make you do that, you'll hear me and think that this guy has no idea what he's talking about. But I do. I have been through this over and over and over again. And the life of Dan Alexander isn't that important to me. But with what information someone like me has about the truth about God, our Creator, in a non-religious fashion, it can really help everyone. And I've backed away from breaking down some of the Bible stuff because that just pisses people off or gets them lost because they refuse to look any deeper into what they already think they know. And they don't. If you praise some sky daddy who supposedly has human beings as those in his image and think that that means God was a human being and that Jesus was a human being, then you can't be further from the truth. And if you don't like that, that's just a person who's holding on to their childish beliefs, refusing that they themselves are that. They themselves have the potential to be better in the next lifetime and this lifetime. But until they face that, they'll continuously do dumbass shit like voting for some politicians that say a few of the things that you agree with so that maybe they can force other people to do that. But until people actually act moral without being forced or without the fear of being punished, we ain't going anywhere. Now, I'm not acting like a tough guy and saying I don't need this world anymore. This world needs me. I'm telling the truth. I have no interest in bowing down and following along with what I'm told to do from the government. I've been being an example, but I can't be an example when anything that I put on with too much depth gets removed. And if I have any more strikes, my whole channel comes down. And I will not start it over again because I see how receptive people are to the deeper truth of the universe. And all I can say is, so be it. I love you all enough anyway, at least who you are underneath there, to let you mess up because you will do this again. And I can prove it if that's what you need. I'm going to leave this video at this, and I'm going to close this short video with 2 statements followed by questions. The good old sayings, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, if that's true, will you really? Especially when I've shown it for 7 years now? And another one, I wish I knew what I know now when I was younger. And what do you know? That's what I'm asking you. What do you know? How many times have you actually thought about what you believe and why you believe it? Or what you do, what your culture does, and why you keep following it? How much time have you spent thinking about it instead of just doing it? And this goes into everything. The material possessions you worship, the dumb things like getting so caught up in sports and entertainment, you're losing yourself, your higher self, and you're staying on a lower plane. And you will do this over and over in this way until you get it. And the being that I am inside here, underneath this skin suit, doesn't have to keep coming back. I will move on to the greater part of the universe, to the greater part of true existence that doesn't need this lower natured earth to try to fit in or prove anything to anyone. And even though I'm at risk of turning anyone who's listened to anything I say away, I am one with the Creator. And not many truly are. Underneath here, sure, everything is. But Dan Alexander is that. And I don't intend to, or I'm not trying to, put down a being like Jesus or Buddha or someone like that who someone may follow. But if you really followed what those things mean, then you would be acting a lot better than you are. If that doesn't pertain to you, and you belong in the handful of people who actually are living somewhat of a conscious life, then of course this doesn't apply to you. But if it's one of the many, many, many who it does apply to, then before you get all angry and offended, really think about what I've said. Until next time, I really do love you. Peace and God bless.